120 seconds. 110 seconds. 100 seconds. 90 seconds. 80 seconds. 70 seconds. 60 seconds. 50 seconds. 40 seconds. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
It's Morning Talk, my friends. Once again, it's time to get our talk on. It's Morning Talk with me, your host, J.C. McCauley, along with champions of talk. This morning, talk champion, Cacique in the house. Good morning. How are you?
Hi, Stan. What's happening? What's happening, everybody out there? To all our listeners and viewers, Grand Rising family.
Grand Rising to you, my friend. You doing good?
Oh, Stan, everything is going really well, man. And, the shop, we had our first tournament at the Taino Chess Club on Friday, and it was incredible, man. It was just, we had 12 players. It's just wonderful energy to have all these, fantastic chess players there. And then I had about 4 or 5 people who came out just to watch. So the shop was full, a lot of good chess going on. So yes, man, I feel real good about that.
Now these tournaments. Now I don't know how they work. Like I not sanctioned, like allowed. But if you win a tournament, if you win a game, does it like, do you get rated? Are you ranked? I mean, does it add to some sort of process? What happens in the tournament, like if I win?
Well, first of all, Stan, there's several ways to conduct a tournament, and one of them is a rated tournament, which means that you have a ranking with the United States Chess Federation, which is the the body that all chess is conducted in the United States. So we also have unrated tournaments, and those tournaments can be for anyone walking off the street. You don't have to be a member of the United States Chess Federation or be ranked. And so we had an unranked tournament yesterday, Friday, excuse me, and most of the players were ranked, and a couple were unranked. It was like an introductory tournament for us. It was our first tournament, and it turned out really well. So prices, you can do trophies. It depends if there's a pay to play, and a lot of the tournaments are pay to play. In this particular tournament, it was a 3-round, 25 minutes per round. A round is a game, and you pay $35 to enter. The winner received $100. The second place received $50, and then what's called under 1800 received the first winner on the 1800. We also received $50.
Wow. So that's pretty cool. So how do you join the federation?
Well, to join the United States Chess Federation, you have to go online and just follow the prompts. There's a small process that you have to go through where you pay a fee, you give them your demographic information, and they give you a membership number and they send you a card. To be a member of the chess club, you just have to come and see me.
Okay. So I want to be a member of the chess club. What do I do? How do I get in touch with you? What do I do?
Well, you can go online. You can go online and look up the Taino Chess Club, and there's my email and my phone numbers on there. And so the daily fee is $5. It's $30 a month or $150 a year. And the chess club actually meets on Fridays. And all the other days that is the business is open is for casual play and for lessons.
All right. So I got Rick Torres up there. I'm trying to get my credits together. Hey, Rick. Good morning.
What's happening, Rick? No, that's not me, man. Don't put my name.
There we go.
Yes. Thank you.
There we go.
But he's a good brother anyway. So.
Yes, he is. So, email address
is loud412 at sbcglobal.net.
Loud412 at sbcglobal.net.
Yes.
All right. And where is the...
It's at 1020 Farmington Avenue in Berlin.
1020 Farmington, Berlin. All right, 15 minutes.
It's about
from
20 minutes from here, yeah. It depends on the traffic and stuff. But yeah, man, thank you for the plug, Stan. I appreciate it.
All right, now I hear the place is packed. A friend of mine's out there all the time.
Well, yes, we've had some. Well, like Friday, that he was there. That place was packed, man. I was so happy, Stan. It was, it felt like I was winning. It hasn't been like that for a long time, but just Friday, I felt like I was, winning. It felt good. It felt good to put something together that was really good. Something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I was able to manifest it. So it felt wonderful.
All right, seeing dreams, hopes, aspirations come to pass. That's always a good thing.
Absolutely, yes.
Always a good thing. So what's happening in the community? You are our community analyst.
Well, I gotta be honest with you, Stan. I haven't been in Hartford much lately. I've been in Hartford on the weekend. But what's happening is I've been actually I'm in Hartford on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Y. I take my son to Kung Fu, but I've been trying to get the business going, and I never realized how much work it is to get a business up and going,
It's nonstop.
Well, it's all the time, so it's taken up quite a bit of time. But I have my my ear, I have my pulse on the community. I have my friends. I always communicate with the elders. I call Eugenio Caro at least once a week.
How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's doing very good. His health is good. He's in good spirits. I call Lou Brown. I call brothers like Jerry Tony. I speak to people, and I call people all the time just to check in to see how they're doing, because we're supposed to do that. I don't have to see you all the time. I can drop you a text or a note and say, hey, Stan, what's happening?
I can attest to that because he'll call me and he'll say, brother, I'm just calling to see you're doing okay. How you doing?
Yeah.
So I'm doing exceedingly. He's brother. I like the energy. He's doing an energy check on you. See if you need
to get it back up.
Intervention or something.
Well, just to let you know that it's good when, I think that, we have to learn to show love to each other in ways that maybe we're not accustomed. And I like calling people and say, hey, man, I'm just checking on you. How you doing? And it kind of catches people off guard because when you think about it, how many people do that for you? How many people call just to check up on you?
Right.
So we have to learn to do that in our community, not just with the family, but with our friends and the people that we claim we love.
I like that. And it creates a chain effect. But the person you're calling starts to feel good. Say, you know what? That's nice.
It feels good to be loved.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Let me see how someone else. Let me call somebody.
Yeah, and
you spread love.
You spread that love, and it's an energy that we have to build. And I keep talking about building a community consciousness. A consciousness where we can all benefit from it, and it's just just little things like that make a difference.
All right. Sad news for those of you who have not heard. One of our Hartford legends,
George Cruz.
George Cruz.
He passed.
Passed last night. Yeah. I remember doing a lot of boxing, covering a lot of boxing with George.
Well, he did the San Juan Center for years, and they did a magnificent job over there. They served a lot of children and a lot of youth. They had a wonderful boxing program that was accompanied by a tutoring, portion of it. And I think that programs like that, generally, man, a lot of the leadership that we have in Hartford comes from that. A lot of the young people that are coming up have gone through programs like that, whether it's through Parks and Recs or the Boys Club or the San Juan Center. There's another boxing program that I'll mention just to the COBA, the Charter Oak Boxing Academy, is another program that has excelled, headed by John Callis. They have done incredible work.
Absolutely.
So it's just a big shout out to George Cruz. Thank you, brother, for all the great work that you did. And we're honored to have you, and you'll be sorely missed. But we're grateful that we did have that moment in time with you.
Absolutely. If you want to, he did a doo-wop show that we recorded.
Oh, nice,
at
man.
the center. And so if you go to accesstv.org, you can see it. It's really, really good. Doo-wop in Hartford.
Was he singing?
Yes.
Nice, man.
He and a couple of his friends from
his era.
From his era.
Because that was very prominent back then.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of people used to get together and do a little doo-wop. Yeah.
So, yeah. The other things happening in the community. We've got events happening all around the city. The 20th, they're going to do a mural unveiling for Ant from Heaven and Hell, Griffin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Anthony Griffin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a lot of clothes from him.
I got hats, clothes. Now sometimes you'd be wondering, are you buying clothes from Ant, or is he like pushing them on you? brother, you need 2 or 3 more of those here. Let me fit you with a pair of shoes and pants. I know you ain't come here and get some pants, but you ain't leaving without.
Well, that's what he's supposed to do, though.
Yeah,
he's supposed to promote his
salesman.
business. I gotta tell you, he did the same thing to me. But I gotta be honest with you. I never bought anything from Anthony that just was not wonderful.
He had great quality.
Yeah, he
stuff.
had great clothes. And I remember 30 years after he made it, when nobody knew Heaven and Hell, I was rocking Heaven and Hell T-shirts, and everybody was like, "Where you get that? Where you get that?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Griff is still over there, man.
Still over there."
But people just kind of,
Yeah.
So it's wonderful to have, one of our own, what I'm saying, from the community, just be, remembered in such a wonderful way.
Yeah, it's gonna be over at Haven Skate Park.
Nice, man.
I'll find out the time and get that up there.
Great. I hope a lot of people show up, man.
Yeah. Been out doing stuff. We had somebody do what we call Mayor for a Minute.
I like that. I seen a video of that where you had a bunch of young people say what they would do, man. I think that's outstanding.
We had the young people out there doing some stuff, and then we got some adults. So I'm gonna do a Mayor for a Minute and let you all listen to somebody else.
Beautiful,
Mayor
man.
for a Minute.
It's nice to hear the ideas that people have, because some of them can be quite forward moving,
Absolutely. Here we go. We'll be right back.
Nice, man.
Hey, Hartford, Connecticut, I'm talking to you.
I'm Corrine Blake, resident of Asylum Hill, and if I were the mayor of Hartford, I'd make sure that everyone in the education system knew about the community in which they work, the city in which they work. Because once you know about it, you begin to value the city and you begin to serve in that fashion. I'm really very passionate about education. I'm an early childhood educator, and so I wouldn't be doing any playing around with programming and getting help to the people who work in these areas. It has to be focused, well formatted, and supported. So that's like my biggest thing, because as my mother taught us many, many years ago in Jamaica, once you have education, that's one thing no man can take away from you. You may lose your money, you may lose your property, but once you are well educated, no one can take that from you. And if you have that, then we can build a viable city. Thank you.
Hey, Stan, man, I gotta tell you, brother, that lady hit the nail on the head. Plus, incidentally, I know Miss Blake.
Oh,
and
okay.
she's been a leader in our community forever, brother. And that's why her words are so powerful. And incidentally, I don't know if you know this, but close to 90% of our teachers are not Hartford residents. 90%. And so they come in, they make money, and then they run. A lot of them, I'm not speaking for all of them, I'm sure some of them, but the thing is that it's hard for people to wrap their heads around this. But any black or brown person who is a teacher now, from right this moment now and before, has been supporting white supremacy and racism. They don't teach our kids nothing. They're teaching our kids how to follow directions. We spoke about this many times. But I like the idea that Ms. Blake says that every teacher in Hartford should be very, very familiar with the community that they work in.
Absolutely.
So kudos to Ms. Blake. Thank you for that wonderful, wonderful insight.
We go around and we different events that we have, and what we will do is we'll bring the mobile office, and from time to, not all the time, but from time to time, it's the studio. We have it configured for studio, so to speak, and when we do, we give people an opportunity to sit at the desk and tell us what they would do if they were mayor. But when it comes to education, the bottom line of education is the kids. Nothing else really actually matters. Like, what's the impact on the young people? If the young people aren't walking away with improved education, better capacity to contribute to their community, then we're missing the mark totally.
And well, and I think Ms. Blake has a wonderful idea that we have to expand on, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, it her idea is like an African or an indigenous village where everybody knows the hierarchy, right? So the teachers should know whether everything that's going on in that community, Stan, who the leaders are, who the elder leaders are, who the youth leaders, what kind of stores. Is there a pharmacy in that community? Is there a grocery store in that community? Is there a nearby hospital? And they should become familiar with that, and even spend some of that money they earn in our community here. Don't just earn it and take it out. So I think that it's just a wonderful idea, and it kind of takes that corporate feel that schools have now. And anything that's corporate is probably terrible for the community, Stan.
Well, the school should be the center of the community.
Absolutely.
Every school should be the center of the community. And so I think one of the things that happened when they did, I'm not like an anti-school choice person. However, the school just like down the street from you ought to be a school that's of such high quality that's the school you would want to go to, and then that's the school that serves Black community. There's no better place to be in touch with the community right there than the school. And the school administration and the teachers should be leaders in the community. And you can't really be a leader if you don't live in the community.
Well, and the thing is, Stan, and I said this 20 years ago, and I guess we're going through this thing with the magnet and the charter schools, right? But back in the day, before they had all this stuff, Stan, Black and brown folks would try to kick white folks' doors to send our kids to their schools, right? And I used to say that. And I remember folks like Thurman Dickinson and others were angry at me because I said that. I said our schools should be good enough that white people are kicking our doors down to send their kids to our schools.
Absolutely.
So what they did is they tricked us, right? Instead of investing money in our neighborhood schools, what they did is they created these magnet and these charter schools and put all the money into them, and now we don't have the goat or the rope. We lost them both.
All right, we're gonna take a short break. When we come back, we will be joined by none other than the one and only Dr. Maya Bowen.
And it's great because she has a lot to say about education. So yes.
All right. Stick and stay. Don't go anywhere, my friends. We will be right back. Morning Talk.
Every bad political decision is made by a politician elected to office. So if you think your vote doesn't matter, just remember this. There are people sitting with politicians in a back room making deals about your future, making policies about your children, making decisions about your neighborhood. To them, you are just a vote. You are not their cause. You are just a vote. Elections have consequences, and if you don't vote, you are actually voting to keep these people in power to work against you. Now more than ever, you need to make your vote count. It's time to clear the air and vote for a mayor that is unbought, unbossed, trusted, and accountable to you, the constituent. My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I am an independent thinker, and I approve this message. I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023, in the Democratic Party primary election for mayor of the city of Hartford. For more information, visit McCauleyformayor.com. Have the courage to vote your conscience and vote for the name you trust and know. Vote J. Stan McCauley for mayor.
Hi,
My name's J. Stan McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Oh, yeah, my friends. Welcome back. It's Morning Talk. I'm your host, J. Stan McCauley. Along with me, of course, we have the champions of talk. We have Cacique in the house. We also have Dr. Maya Bowen joining us. And we're going to continue the conversation. Of course, you all out there are here with us this morning, too. Let's welcome Dr. Bowen. Dr. Bowen, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm at a rest stop right now in Natick. We call it Natick instead of Natick. So Natick, it sounds like it reads to be Natick, but out here it's Natick. You should have threw an Y in there. Natick. Anyways, I digress. But it's an awesome, beautiful Wednesday morning. I'm glad to join you all.
Well, it's good to see you, and we understand that you're in transit. So she's stopped a little while to give us a visit. So if she drops out, we'll just hopefully wait for her to pop back in.
Give me a second. Let me see.
You're here.
This up here.
You're here.
Oh, okay.
You're here.
Okay,
We can see you. You might freeze up, but that's
I
okay.
hear you all we're leaning into the whole schools being a part or essential to the community.
Absolutely.
Yes, I would agree with that. There's a few things that have to be taken into consideration in regards to that, because when you stop to look at the foundation, you have to define community and identify what members that make up that community believe community really is, so everybody's on the same page. Interestingly enough, individuals come from outside of the area, and then the question becomes, do they realize what's actually going on inside the perimeters of the community at large, in terms of whether individuals are bombarded by a lot of extra things that could impact the children during their daily educational journey. And so if it is that when they leave the school building and they can have a peaceful night's rest, that doesn't necessarily mean that the children are environments that allow for the same to happen, so that allows for them to actually be ready to actually engage in learning on the next day.
So, Dr. Maya, Stan a few moments ago posed a question to me, and I want to pose that to you as the, education expert. he said that when teachers receive a raise, there's a positive impact on them. And how does that raise impact how does that raise impact children positively?
I missed a portion of that. I'm getting some type of feedback that is not allowing for the volume to come in that great.
Can,
So I heard something about positivity. Could you just restate that for me?
Yeah, Stan said that when teachers get a raise, they're impacted positively by that raise. And how does that raise impact our youth positively?
You have to step by case basis because if a teacher is doing their job, then it's going to trickle down to the students, right? But if the teacher is not doing their job, then the raise is just a raise for them, and there is no benefit to the student. I mean, it's not rocket science. The question ultimately becomes whether or not the teachers that are in their respective classrooms are actually teaching.
mm.
And that's a case by case basis.
It,
I can't answer it wholeheartedly in terms of it being something that will be consistent across the board, but it would definitely be a case by case basis.
and
So
is there a rubric?
or if they didn't get a raise, regardless of why it is that you do what you do, the focus has to be on the children that you teach, whether you are going to get paid or not. We all know that we work for money. However, the reason why you're there should not be solely because of the paycheck, but because it is going to make a positive and productive impact on the educational journey of the children. Plain and simple.
Well, then that would mean that a volunteer parent that comes in and helps out in the classroom might have more of an impact than a teacher or a staff person. And I mean, the janitor or the custodian could have a positive impact. So it's not necessarily, because you always hear, especially politicians, will talk about how we need to give teachers more raises, because I think the teachers union is ultimately what they're aiming at. But you never hear anybody say, well, we need to give the custodians a raise so that the school will be better and have a better impact on the children, because the custodian union doesn't have as much influence as the teachers union.
Well, the reason that argument hasn't come up, Stan, is because it'll come up now that you presented it. That's been saved for the teachers own that argument. But once the custodians figure out that nobody really owns it, they can also use it, then we're going to be in, we'll hear about it, man.
Yeah, but the impact on the young people. Say that again.
Definitely have that for consideration. So think about this: if it is that the school building is a learning environment, then no matter what the position held by the adult in the actual building, they are all educators. So if it is that we stripped away position and title and actually looked at the community being based on adults who are educators, everybody falls under the umbrella of educators, no matter what their title, then it is where we find community actually engaging in and taking seriously and having a heart for the children based on how they impact them in a positive and productive way. If you are just looking at titles and position and power, as well as influence and money, then the actual impetus of the focus is off cue. You gotta think about how it is that you're impacting these young people, because they know how you're impacting them, whether or not you realize it or not. When they become adults, that stuff, positive, negative, and indifferent, that sticks with them. And I know it true to heart, because there's some stuff that happened to me in the school system that I still retain, and it made me think about how it is that I interact with individuals of all ages, and they showed me one thing. They showed me how not to be in terms of the negative types of things that actually occurred. So you got to be very careful. You're making an impact as an educator. Strip away the titles, positions, the money. You're an educator.
Wow. So then it's an education it's an educational community. The once you walk in that building, it's a whole community.
Everybody should be an educator considered. And that's an incredible point that you make, Dr. Maya. But here's the issue for me: that I've worked with people, I've worked with individuals, and I'm going to name them, right? I've worked with individuals who had more of a positive impact on our students than all the teachers and all the other staff and the principal put together. And they were never valued. They have never been given their position for the wonderful work that they do with our children. And they have never been given the monetary value that they deserve. I'm going to name Kim Bridges.
Miss Kim.
Miss Kim, okay? Miss Kim, I worked with her in a couple different schools. And everywhere that I worked with her, she was the man. The woman, the person, whatever you want to call her, she was it. Okay, she took Fox Middle. When Fox Middle was at its worst, we brung her in. And the cafeterias were completely out of control. The principals, the vice principals, the security, the teachers, nobody could do nothing with them. These kids used to just go out of control.
I would say when it is that you have a heart for the youth, you're not doing it for acknowledgement because you know this is a thankless job.
But that's
right?
that don't make that don't hold on, Dr. Maya, that don't make it right.
It would be nice to be acknowledged. I understand that. It would be nice to be acknowledged, but despite the acknowledgement, you still are going to do what you do.
No, and I agree with that, but what I'm
because you have a heart for it. Because you have a heart for it. So the thing of it is that when we start to think about community and really flatline positions, titles, and the money aspect, all are educators that are in that environment, regardless of what title is associated with salary, is associated with it.
I don't agree with that at all.
Ultimately, when a student or a group of students enter and exit that building, you are their quasi supervision or overall supervision, really, because the parents aren't there. And so it's what it is that you do during that engagement period over the course of the day that is going to leave a lasting impact, regardless of what anybody or how anybody thinks about it. It is lasting. Certain things you just don't forget. Certain things traumatize people, and a lot of adults, and I hear it from time to time, a lot of adults carry childhood traumas based on school experience, and now are not engaged because of that. And so there's a lot of tie-in to who it is that these youth are going into the building to meet up with for at least 6 to 8 or more hours. So understanding that your role as an influencer is important and valuable and is going to have decades of effects on an individual is something that should be very mindful before you sign up for that position, because it's real. It's real and it's impactful and it's lifelong in terms of how it is that a youth experience adults.
Let's put a clock on her, man.
And it carries forward.
Let's put a timer on.
It's to be taken very seriously. And you got to have a heart for it. You can't think about other things in terms of what it is that you're going to get thanked for or not thanked for. If you're doing it because you have a heart for the youth of the community and you want to see nothing but the best for them in terms of their individual successes, then despite everything else, you're there for the youth. Point blank, period.
So, Dr. Maya, before you made your statement, I was trying to point out some people that have been in our community for a long time and have done the type of work that you're talking about, but I find your words a little bit disrespectful when you talk about what it doesn't matter what your position is. What I'm trying to bring to light is that people in our community that have been doing work for a long time and have been and are of greater value than any administrator or any educator. And educator, I mean by principal or teacher, right, have gone unnoticed, and they're, even though they create this wonderful value that has lasting effect for generations, like you say, they are still not compensated for the work that they bring. That was the point that I was trying to make. And the other person that I would like to mention is Sean Bell, is a brother that has worked in our community for a long time.
And as a matter of fact, Kasike, we were actually on the same page. So I think there's a
You and I are rarely on the same page, Dr. Maya.
Well, I think on this point, you guys actually are.
No, because she was dismissive of these people when she said whoever or whatever Stan.
But we got on one person.
Exactly in the same alignment based on what we're saying.
You just can't talk over me, Stan. That's not cool either. You know what I mean?
Right. So so we have a good discussion going on here. No, I understand what you both are saying. To me, I think, and to the general audience.
Well, I kind of forgot what I was saying, and I want you to remind me of what I was saying, Stan.
You were saying that the very people who she's talking about that have an impact on students are people who aren't compensated, which is to make the point that the person in the building is contributing to that. They are the path to impact. They're one of those paths. Whereas just because a teacher's getting a raise does not necessarily mean that there's a path to the impact on the kid. There's a path to impact on them and their family. But here we have people who are volunteering or doing something for almost nothing, and they have a more of an impact on the student than some of the paid staff. I think that's really what everyone is saying. And the examples, the examples that are being given to make that point might be a little conflicting, but with the people making the points. But the point is that the student, the young person in the building is what matters most. And once they enter into that building, they're there to be what's the impact on the child for entering that building? And to the degree that if you're not contributing to their good outcome, if the impact on that child is a negative one, then the people responsible for that should be removed.
I agree with that. And so I just want to mention a couple more people. Sean Bell is another individual. And these are like people probably in their 50s now or older. But we had another person in Hartford that is no longer here. She moved down south. Jackie Bethea is another person that impacted, our students in the community and in the school setting. So I just wanted to give, a couple people the recognition.
Some shout out.
And let them know that even though you may not be compensated for all the work that you do, we certainly do recognize you, and we're hoping that will change.
All right, that's fair enough. Dr. Maya Bowen, you have a new position and title.
I do. So I got promoted, and so I'm now Dean of Liberal Arts and Health Careers at the community college that I teach at. And so I'm transitioning from faculty into an administrative position.
So the dean. So do we call you Dean?
Dr. Dean?
Dr. Dean.
Dean Doctor.
Dean Dr. Bowen.
Congratulations, Dr. Maya. That's wonderful.
Thank
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I know a Dr. Dean. You remember Dean? Dr. Dean over at Sam?
I'm sure there are plenty that exist.
He was an educator here in Hartford. We're going back a couple years, but he was over at Sand School for a while and in different places around here. His name is Dean, Dr. Dean.
Oh no, I don't remember him.
I'm having a hard time escaping his first name is escaping me. I know you know him. I just can't think of his name. So Dr. Dean.
Yes.
Yeah. I was throwing people off when I was sending out text messages about how does Dean Bowen sound. They thought I was going to have a son named Dean. Y'all taking it all out of context.
No. Dean. I'm not with child.
I'm the new Dean.
Right.
That's funny.
Right.
Yeah. So
I hate to talk and run.
Well, thanks for checking in. I know you're on the road, on your way. It's gonna get probably even more. I guess your presence with us is gonna be something that is every once in a while as your roles and responsibility increase. But we're always glad to have you whenever you can make it for however long you can make it.
Absolutely.
As always, we'll make it do what it does.
Amen.
Have a great one, everyone.
All right.
All right, Dr. Maya, peace.
Thank you for checking in.
Yes.
All right, Dr. Maya Bowen checking in with us, and we're gonna check in with another mayor for a minute. Now, this one's a little bit longer than a minute. She said, so it was be mayor for a minute. So she came on the bus. She did. I love what she says, but then she turned the mayor for a minute into, well, if I was mayor for a day.
She took it seriously, Stan.
She took it very seriously, and it made me think, that maybe we should do mayor for a day. I remember when Hartford did principal for a day.
Yeah, they still do that sometimes.
They did principal.
I think some of the schools
day.
still do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool because I actually became a principal for a day at one of the schools here in Hartford. This was many years ago. But
I think they're still doing it with the students, Stan.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they had parents come in.
Right.
And
I think that's really cool because it gives parents an up close and personal idea of what a principal day look like.
It was really cool because they paired you with a principal, and they made you principal for a day. So everything that happened, you shadowed the principal, but you had to make the decision. It was a discipline thing. He's all right. Work with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got this teachers, students, emergencies, and so you were with it, and it gave a much different perspective, and it was pretty cool. Yeah. So
I like that concept because, like I said, it introduces parents to what a principal day look like, and I got to say this: police officers and principals and people that have those jobs, those are some of the most thankless jobs that you can ever imagine. You're asking a principal to take care of all the staff and all the kids and all the business, and at the end of the day, man, there's a lot of stuff that goes on that parents and people don't know that principals have to do. I'm not an education fan as far as what the system is, but there are people out there that are trying to do their best, and to those people, I take my hat off. But we have to change the system, and there's no way around that because our kids aren't learning, Stan. It's like I said before, the smartest black and brown kids in America, they're picked up because they can follow directions.
Compliant few.
Yeah, and they're not picked up because they're building or they're creating or they're inventing anything. They can follow directions. That's unacceptable.
I agree with you 100%. They're compliant.
Yes.
They do what they're told.
And we have to and now what I'm urging parents to do is to force these districts to introduce the African American and indigenous curriculums. They have them. They haven't rolled them out. They still don't want to make African American studies a course. They just want to make it like a little program that they teach the kids. They don't want to make it an ongoing thing. And you can't teach African American and indigenous history in passing. You know what I'm saying? This is a lifelong learning experience for us. So I don't know what people are thinking about when they come up with this stuff. We have to really fight for this kind of thing, man.
Well, we're gonna do this here. Mayor
for a minute.
For a minute. For a day.
Nice.
Mayor for a day. If I were mayor for a day. Stick and Stay will be right back. Morning Talk.
Hey, Hartford, Connecticut. I'm talking to you.
Hello, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Tracy Ann Johnson, and if I were mayor for the day, I would pay close attention to the importance and significance of education, wellness, mental health, advocacy, early childhood education, the significance and importance and value of love, ownership, pride in our community. If I were mayor for the day, I would definitely create partnerships between law enforcement, being that I have worked in criminal justice in a variety of capacities for over 16 years. I have experience working as a substance abuse counselor within the prison systems. I have since left that environment, and now I am extremely involved within the Hartford community as a parent leader, as a wellness advocate, as an education advocate. I know firsthand the impacts of childhood trauma, environmental traumas, urban trauma, lack of education within the community, and the significance of empowering our children to know and truly understand who they are and what they have the ability and potential to become. As I have learned as a resident of Hartford and a proud resident and alumni of Hartford Public Schools, education opens up the doors for opportunities, and the reality is that with education, all things are possible. The sky is literally the limit. If I were mayor for the day, I would also create partnerships between our clergy, our church community, and our residents. I would pay close attention to the need for those in law enforcement to do what is known as not only law enforcement, but understanding the community in which they live and or work in if they do not live here. It is also important for the community members to know their values, their worth, and the role that we play together, because there is a saying, we are better together. As a parent of a child that goes to school in Glastonbury through the Hartford Region Open Choice Program, I know firsthand the significance of preparing our children to walk in such communities and also walk within our Hartford community, and the parallel between understanding of all these worlds. So if I were mayor for the day, I would really truly do a assessment on the realities that our children are experiencing, our families are experiencing from the socioeconomic stance, from the health stance, because we have many environmental realities that are also realities within our city in which we must continue to have these necessary conversations around. So if I were mayor, I would promote the cohesiveness, the love, the unity, and the pride in our city. Thank you.
To make a difference. Get out and vote. You vote. Go and vote. We can
Well, I got to tell you, Stan, I really enjoyed a lot of her views. But when I hear black and brown people talk about education, man, it terrifies me, because we're still pushing the same stuff on our kids that was pushed on us. And it's like we can't get it. We can't get past that. But I would urge people, when you talk about education, talk about the correct type of education, and understand that the education that our children are receiving today is not the correct education. They need to be learning more, first of all, about our history, so we can know where we come from. And they need to learn basic things that they're going to use day to day. Okay, changing a tire, learning how to create a bank account for yourself.
Financial literacy.
Financial literacy is so important, because a lot of us don't learn that, because we leave it to somebody else. You know what I mean? So we need to get off of that nonsense that we're on all the time, and just stop kissing. All right, somebody else is behind. Let's create. Let's do some wonderful things, and let's demand better for ourselves, our families, and our community. It's simple.
It is. To me, it's extremely simple. I remember having a conversation a couple years ago with the president of Central Connecticut State University, and she said all change in education takes 7 years. Now I said, I'm not an educator, but it seems to me that this is not as complicated as everyone's making it out. She said, well, actually it is. And she broke it, you got union this, you got this person, this, that. There's so many things in the way. So I say that to say this. One thing that the mayor of the city gets to do is appoint people to the Board of Education. 5. 4 are elected, and the chief elected official gets to appoint 5. If you were mayor, not necessarily who would the 5 be, but what would you be looking for in the 5?
Well, first of all, the first thing I would do is I would eliminate that nonsense with the 5. I wouldn't want to select 5. I would select 1 or 2 at the most. And it would be, something it wouldn't be a big deal. I would want all the rest to be either be voted in or be picked by the council members, because the council members have more contact with the community, I think, and I would leave that to them. But what I would be looking for someone, a candidate for the Board of Ed, would be a person of color, male or female. I would like for them to speak Spanish or understand the culture and the nature of the type of colonization that Spanish-speaking people around the world have been put through, because Hartford is a majority Spanish-speaking town. So we're going to get our respect, right? And then it should also be a person who is familiar with the customs of the Caribbean people and of African American customs. You know what I'm saying? And also African customs, because there's a lot to learn. So I would want a person who is well-rounded in African and indigenous culture and in African and indigenous traditions, because that's the kind of stuff I want our kids to learn. Because our kids are learning to be corporate, and when you're corporate, you are part of this capitalist society, and when you become that, then you can't see people as humans. You could only see them for their monetary value, and when they don't have any monetary value, then they don't exist to you. So we need to get away from that type of thinking. So that's the kind of people I would be looking for.
I like your idea about appointing the 2 and then the 3 to the council. Although per charter, currently right now, the excuse me, the mayor has to do the appointing. I think there might be confirmation by council, but I would consult. And I actually had this conversation with one of the town committees. They were doing some interviews, and so chiefs, like the police chief, all the major appointments,
absolutely,
that impact the community, I would use, because you guys start somewhere. So I would be using town committee members and NRZ members.
NRZs, yeah.
Those would be the 2 groups I would ask to put forth the candidates.
I think those are great ideas,
because these people are the ones
they're active.
They're active. They're in touch with the community.
And Stan, I would caution against that, right? But that's a good idea. It's a good start.
Right.
But I will caution, because the NRZs and the town committees a lot of times are politically active.
Right, but
they're not socially active.
Right, but
there's a difference.
Right. And now the town committee, in theory, now this is in theory, should be the closest representative to the people, because they're elected. So people want to talk about accountability in government. The first people in government that should really be held accountable are town committee people, because they're elected.
Well, here's the thing that I said to Yolanda Castillo, Edwin Vargas, Ramon Arroyo, Manny Gonzalez. This was like the leadership. 30 years ago, I said to them, we should have a class in the community to educate them on what it is that a council member does. What does a town committee member, what are their responsibilities, what are their duties? What is the responsibility of a state rep? What does a state senator do? What does the U.S. senator do? What does a congressman do? Because I can tell you right now, I can probably ask each of the elected council members in Hartford the responsibilities of each of those people that I mentioned, and I guarantee you that more than half of them won't know what the hell it is. So if the elected officials
don't know,
how do we expect the citizens to know? So what we need to be thinking about, Stan, is educating our people on the responsibilities, the duties, the obligations, whatever word you want to use that these people are supposed to be doing, and then we can hold them accountable. But if I don't know what you're supposed to be doing, Stan, but I know that you're doing something wrong, and we went to court, and I said to the judge, I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something wrong. That judge is going to laugh me all the way out of court.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So education, once again, the right type of education is vital. I think the reason I was offended by Chris Murphy in Washington when he said that he didn't know why black and brown people don't vote. He asked that question. And I said as much to him.
He asked, answered the question?
No, he asked.
He asked why they don't vote?
Yeah, he said he didn't know why they don't vote. And so I'm going to tell you why a lot of our people don't vote. I think that a lot of our people don't vote, Stan, is because they're completely ignorant of the political process. They just know that the mayor's supposed to be in charge and the council people, they don't really know exactly what it is. And so I urge people who are running for office to make sure that you lay out your understanding of what your responsibilities are as a mayor and the council, and help people understand, because the best type of voter is an informed voter, Stan.
Absolutely. Well, you know, the charter. You know what? In the upcoming weeks, let's go over the charter, because the charter lays out a lot of that. Particularly,
take them one at a time.
Yeah, particularly for the city council.
I mean, from the dog
mayor,
catcher on up, bro.
Right. So let's if we at least can do that.
Absolutely, man.
We'll lay out the roles of
elected officials.
It's your government.
And you know, in terms of what you said earlier, Stan, about the police chief, the fire chief, the superintendent, all these people being picked by the community, I've always felt that should be the case.
Absolutely.
Because they're working with the community.
Right.
And you should know us. I never seen
and really picked by the community, not the dog and pony show where they've already been pre-selected and paraded through the community. There's a difference.
Exactly. So, you know, there's a lot of work to be done, but I think that that's a really good place. And I think that when people start to understand what the responsibilities of these elected officials are, and you begin to understand how you can hold them accountable. Because a mayor, to remove any elected official in this country, you don't need an election. You can remove the president by, just by having a huge protest. He could be removed.
Yeah.
Yes, anyone, any senator, anyone, the mayor, anyone. So I don't think people know that.
They can be impeached.
They can be impeached, but by protest, people can be removed.
Absolutely.
We can if enough people in Hartford say Luke Bronin has to resign, then he has to resign. We don't need an election. You know what I'm saying? They have to leave, and it's the will of the people.
Well, it's the people's government, despite what some may think. It's actually the people's government. Stick and stay, don't go anywhere. We will be right back, my friends.
How do you define evil? Is evil the pedophile school administrator or taxation without representation? Is it the gatekeeping community leaders who sell out the very people they were elected to fight for? Or is evil the politician that puts out lies and takes in cash? However you may classify evil, having to choose the lesser of two evils still leaves you with evil. Nowhere does this rule apply more than during an election for mayor. Choosing a candidate who is the lesser of two evils still leaves you with evil. No wonder so many people don't vote. It's time for the constituents to flip the script and vote for a mayor you can trust. My name is J.C. McCauley. I am an independent thinker, and I approve this message. I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023, in the Democratic Party primary election for mayor for the city of Hartford. I, like you, am an independent thinker. So let's sit down and talk about my path to victory and why my 5-point plan for Hartford will work. Stop listening to the uninformed evil interests that tell you I can't win. For more information, visit McCauleyformayor.com. Have the courage to vote your conscience. Vote for the name you trust and know. Vote McCauley for mayor.
Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and
Well,
you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends, welcome back. Sitting here talking with my good friend Kasika, and it's morning talk. So welcome back to the conversation. Now we were talking about during the break. We're talking about maritime versus law of the land and maritime law. But one of the things we're getting ready to do, because like I got this 5-point plan to realign Hartford's priorities, but we're getting ready to introduce. We have a big press conference stuff, but we're getting ready to introduce a 6th point where we attack one of the major impediments that keeps the disparity, if you will, because a lot of people like that word, wide gap, and it's literacy in Hartford, and an all-out effort to increase literacy among Hartford adults, because the research shows and has determined that it's, some say as high as 61%, but there's solid data that says 41%. So between 41 and 61%, depending upon who you ask, who are the experts, between 41 and 61% of the adults in the city of Hartford are functionally illiterate. And they literally, that means that they can't read an ATM machine. And you can see where this impacts your ability to be informed. And so if we need to do financial literacy, we need to do just regular
literacy in general,
all the way across. And I think that is essential to building community within our city, because otherwise you have that mentality of, well, they know best, so I better listen. And I don't want to ask no questions.
That's what's killing us.
And that's what's killing us.
So it's interesting that you will use that statistic, Stan, because if 40% of our population are functional illiterates, what does that say for the Hartford school teachers? And what's
a lot of these adults started off as kids.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So let me share this with the audience.
Promotional graduation.
About 20 years ago, there was a study done at Weaver, and the average grade level for students at Weaver in math and in reading, third grade. Third grade.
That's the grade that they determine prisons.
Okay, and so here, Stan, once again, why are we talking about stuff like this? And what has happened since then? Where are our kids now? So see, this is what I'm saying. We're paying people a lot of money. We're giving them great benefits. We're giving them great retirements. And I want to be clear about this. I am all for that.
Right.
When they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Right,
and they're not doing it. If 40% of our citizenry is functionally illiterate, and I know people are going to jump up and say, oh, no, that's not, all those didn't come, they didn't graduate, blah, blah, blah.
No, they're Harvard.
I'm pretty sure
that
that's a very accurate number. It could be higher. You know what I'm saying? So once again, Stan, our population, our black and brown people don't vote because they're not informed.
Right.
There's a high percentage of illiteracy, which is definitely a contributing factor because, like you stated earlier, people will simply say, I'm gonna vote for this dude because Stan voted for him. I don't really know what he do. I don't know, but my boy Stan voted for him, so we gotta get away from that nonsense.
Absolutely.
We have to get away from that.
They have to be informed. So if you can't read the names of the people on the ballot, then you either have to vote for the row or you have to ask somebody. And so what you wind up having is a system of bell cows. There's nothing wrong with community leaders. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But you can't vet or double check what someone's telling you. Like, where can you go get the information, the data, and say, well, you know what? I looked up who you told me to, and I read through what they had. I listened to some of their stuff, but they're pretty almost there. I got some issues I need to ask them about. You can't. You can't verify anything if you can't read these things. And school systems, and this is almost borderline criminal. School systems talk about, well, how do you increase parent engagement? Well, if the children have parents who are functionally illiterate and parents are semi-intimidated already going to the school and made to be small and belittled, what parents gonna come to the school who knows that they are functionally illiterate to be embarrassed by a teacher who feels intimidated because the parent wants to come to school and ask a question about the kid's education? So they should be using the schools as centers where adult education happens after the school closes, where there's recreation things going on in the school. Back to what we were talking about at the beginning, where the school is the central contributor, that the center point of impact in the community should be the school.
Absolutely, Stan. And study after study have shown, brother, that when a school shuts down, that community falls apart. They just go right to blight. And so we have to make sure that we protect our community schools, that we invest in them, because that's an investment that's going to yield a very high interest. If we're teaching our kids the right stuff, that's an investment in our community schools is an investment in our children, in our families, and in our community. When it's done correctly, when the community's involved, when they got the right stuff going on in there, yes, that's an investment in ourselves. So yes, I completely agree with you.
All right. If you want to contribute to the conversation, all you do is drop your messages in the chat section of whatever you're watching. If it's YouTube, if it's LinkedIn, if it's Twitch, if it's Twitter, you can, or Facebook, you can drop us messages and we can see them. Rick Torres says, "Preach, preach, 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 Kasiki, preach."
And I just want to say to the community, my apologies. I promised you all that I was going to have former Hartford Police Chief Daryl Roberts, but unfortunately the chief, and I guess most of the people at the Board of Education where he works at now are preparing for some ceremonies and awards and stuff that's happening. So he was unable to make it, but we'll get him back on. And while I'm on here, I just want to say that once again, Brian Evans, man, this guy, man, Brian, he is getting our kids their licenses. He's making sure they graduate. He works for the Peace Builders. And Brian, I just got to give you a huge shout out, man. I'm so proud of the work that you're doing, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Might be Teacher of the Year.
Who is that?
That they're preparing for. Every year they have a big. It's a big event. It's usually,
well, they have a couple because they got graduations coming up.
Right. So
they got a lot of stuff going on.
It is that time. It's almost June. So,
but we'll get him on here.
Yeah,
we'll get him on here. He's a man of his word, and he said he's coming on, and there shouldn't be no issue with him.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having him on because I want to ask him some questions relative to policing police leadership, and just him in general.
I think he would be incredible guest then, because all the years that I've known Daryl Roberts, he's been a straight shooter.
Yes.
He's not gonna come in here and blow no smoke or none of that. He's gonna come and he's gonna answer the questions to the best of his ability, based on his knowledge of the question. And I think I think that those are the type of guests that I enjoy. I don't think we've had one on that wasn't like that.
No.
But those are the type of guests that are very, very engaging, because the audience can feel, that these people are being honest and straightforward in how they present themselves. So yeah, I have a couple other people lined up that I want to ask to come on. So
all right,
we should be having some very interesting guests coming on.
I'm looking forward to hearing from them.
Absolutely,
I'm looking absolutely forward to it. Any shout outs?
Well, Stan, I have to shout out Kevin Zimmerman and a brother named Matt for organizing the chess tournament at the Taino Chess Club. It was wonderful. We had 12 players participate. It was a very high number for the first time. And I want to shout out a couple brothers that come by all the time and support me. Andrew Tucker, we call him Tuck. Roberto Perez. And there's another brother named Ed Perry, we call him Truck. These three gentlemen are in the club 3 or 4 days a week, playing, supporting, engaging with, other people. And I'm grateful to them, and I want to thank them for that. And to all the people who support my ideas and my vision, not just in the Taino Chess Club, but in the community. I want you to know that I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And let's build something together that is sustaining and can be here for generations to come. Peace, family.
I'm gonna shout somebody. I don't normally shout people out, but I'm gonna shout some out. They're totally not expecting this. I hope I don't get them in trouble. Sometimes some people shout you out.
They want to keep their
now they
discreet
pull you,
about their
right,
stuff.
pull you into the room and beat you up because
what you doing, man?
Talk about
yeah.
I actually had this guy's Marco Morales. He has absolutely no idea who I am. None. Totally none. None.
I know how you feel.
I was just another guy. And we were having a problem sending our signal out of Weaver. And there's, internet security and stuff like that is becoming more and more of an issue. So they're blocking a lot of stuff down. And so he worked with me on the phone. They were having dance rehearsal for something. The music was loud and stuff like that. But he worked and they finally got the signal. So MHIS and this guy on the phone working back and forth. Now, mind you, they were doing their job. It's not like, but they were doing their job. It took almost an hour and a half. But
they got it done.
They got it done.
That's beautiful.
And I only say that to say that there are people in Hartford working for the city who actually are trying their very best, as you mentioned.
Yes.
To do the best job they can. They're proud of the work they do.
Absolutely.
And this guy was just glowing.
And we salute him.
He was just glowing. And he said, I remember when I was in school and all the AV techs, the super nerds.
Yes.
No one knew that they would take over the world. The guy with the pin,
in his pocket.
the shirt pocket protector.
And he had the little thing on there, the little plastic.
AV tech dude walking around. Everybody, I'm an AV tech. But they lived in another world. Now they've created a world of their own where they are now kings and queens in that world. Because, man, this dude was, the protocol, the hypertext protocol, he's going on and on. He was just beaming. Because he was able to walk me through and tell me about this and what that meant. And he said, you need to get a new cable. We'll test your cable out here.
In a way that you could understand, Stan.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
He was breaking it down.
Nice, man.
He was breaking it down.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
So shout out to Marco Morales.
Yes.
Good job, brother.
Hartford Public Schools and MHIS.
Good job of representing Hartford Public Schools, man, in a positive light. You know, and although I have been critical of the superintendent and the policies, I do respect the people that are trying to do their best, that are taking care of our children, that are protecting our children. I salute you every single day. Change is coming and it's going to be positive. And for people like the people that I mentioned, like Brian Evans and Sean Bell and Miss Kim, we're working to get some things to you. We're putting your name out there, and we want you to be rewarded for all the wonderful work that y'all do. A young lady like Sahar that works with Kim, and all these other young people, man, out there, we recognize you, and we're going to elevate you because that's what we're supposed to do. So keep doing the wonderful work that you're doing because we're all grateful for that. Thank you.
Hartford's got talent.
You better believe it. We have lots of talent.
Absolutely. Joe Young just did a Hartford's Got talent show. It was over at the Bushnell. And as a testimony to Miss Kim, because it seems like everything she touches turns to gold.
Oh, my goodness.
Because she's that good.
Yeah, she's incredible.
The grand winners of the whole contest were two kids, the Miss Kim. They were like her kids.
They were under her tutelage.
And they were the youngest people in of all of the performers. Yeah. And they got out there and they knocked it right out the park. And when they announced them, as I'm getting chills, goosebumps just thinking about it. When they announced them, the way Joe did it, the whole place was electric when they won. Because in your mind, you're like, they really should win because they are good. But you just didn't think that they were going to win. They were like the tiniest little kids. Yeah. And you almost wanted to make sure they got a consolation prize if they didn't win.
Right, because they're so
and they
little.
wound up being the grand winners. Wow. I mean, it was just phenomenal. But my daughters did stuff with Miss Kim. Every young person who she interfaces with, she leaves an impact on.
And I think for the most part, from what I know, most of them have done very positive and have done well for themselves.
Yep.
So see, this is what I mean. I don't want to understate, Stan, the importance that these folks that I keep mentioning every week have in our community. And I want to know what the wealthy, the well-to-do black and brown folk are doing about that. I want to see some envelopes in their mailboxes with something for the wonderful work that they do. They deserve that. And if you've made it enough where you can do it, what are you waiting for? You know what I mean? But before we end, Stan, I just want to say one more thing, man. I'm concerned that I haven't heard anything from you about a Juneteenth celebration. You know that the Bushnell does some nonsense every year. Is the Juneteenth for white folks is what I call it. The year that I went to your Juneteenth celebration, it was family. It was crafts people were there. It was wonderful entertainment. And what's going on? Are we having something this year or what, man?
Let me talk to my wife.
Talk to the boss, Stan.
I mean, now that you mention it, it's just like all of a sudden it's June.
Yeah, man. What's going on, man?
We might be.
Don't tell me y'all planning a 4th of July celebration and you forgot about Juneteenth.
No. But with the campaign and all of the other stuff, and you know,
it's just a gathering, brother. And
right, but we could perhaps turn. So as soon as we get off the air, you'll have an answer before you leave the house.
Yeah, man. We need that, Stan, because we need to promote that.
That was a phenomenal
I'm
event.
telling you, man. My wife enjoyed it. I loved it. You know what I'm saying? And I've been looking forward to the next one ever since then, but it hasn't happened, man.
All right, we will, and the pandemic is over, and so I'll talk to my wife. Let's see what we can do.
Get a little food in there, and a little music, man. Let's get together, man.
4 weeks. We got a lot of things being in plan right now, but that could be something that we pull off. So we'll talk about this before you leave.
I just don't want you to, as a leader in this community, brother, I don't want you to forget like I said about those other people. The same thing with the holidays that we celebrate that are ours. We should never take it lightly that we need to be, doing things to promote that.
All right. Well,
we'll make it happen.
Well, I'm right close to that, but I can't say that until we're right on the edge of making it happen.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Hey man, what a great show
We'll
today.
see.
Thank you, Stan, man.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Outstanding, brother.
Thank you. And I hope your back feels better.
I'm in pain, brother,
Yeah, I can
because
tell.
my back
Yeah.
just spazzes out and it goes down to my hips.
Yeah,
And it
he's
feels
sitting,
like
he's
a
sitting
dent
in here
pain.
pushing through. You have all no idea. He's sitting here pushing through the pain.
Yeah, we're trying to make it happen, but we're all right, you know.
All right. Y'all send positive energy to him.
Thank you, family.
There
Thank
you
you
go.
so much, man. Incredible. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week and do the best that you can. That's all that we're asking. Do the very best that you can, and we will be very, very appreciative of that.
All right, my friends. We will see you next time. Y'all go out and have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Hey, Hartford, Connecticut, I'm talking to you.
I'm Corrine Blake, resident of Asylum Hill, and if I were the mayor of Hartford, I'd make sure that everyone in the education system knew about the community in which they work, the city in which they work. Because once you know about it, you begin to value the city and you begin to serve in that fashion. I'm really very passionate about education. I'm an early childhood educator, and so I wouldn't be doing any playing around with programming and getting help to the people who work in these areas. It has to be focused, well formatted, and supported. So that's like my biggest thing, because as my mother taught us many, many years ago in Jamaica, once you have education, that's one thing no man can take away from you. You may lose your money, you may lose your property, but once you are well educated, no one can take that from you. And if you have that, then we can build a viable city. Thank you.
At your city, stop, take a look around. Hey, Hartford, Hartford, Connecticut, I'm talking to you. We gotta get out and vote. Vote for Stan McCauley. It's our time. We gotta rise up and take it back. Vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah.
It's more than politics than just what your social covers. And it ain't somewhere written down in bold letters. Don't just take my word for it, do your research. Think of your future, look at your bigger picture. Shooting tie, clean up, unity for the righteous. Plotting on action, hands on access. With a light source vision, door to door knocking. Guerrilla style marketing, brainstorm as a collective. Real neighborhood suggestions. Only we know what it is where we living. To make real life decisions. Move on facts, make it manifest back.
You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah. Look at your city. Stop. Take a look around. Is opportunity flow into your house? Are you working? Wait, can you save some money? And is your neighborhood safe? Or is it a homicide every night?
Senior. Many of you may know me as the two-time welterweight champion of the world. I'm here to tell you that Democrat J. Stan McCauley, as our next mayor, will fight for you until the last bell. Help me throw a knockout punch. Go out and vote for Stan the man.
My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I approve this message.
Hey, Hartford, Connecticut, I'm talking to you. We gotta get out and vote. Vote for Stan McCauley. It's our time. We gotta rise up and take it back. Vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan.
It's more than politics than just what your social social covers. And it ain't somewhere written down in bold letters. Don't just take my word for it, do your research. Think of your future, look at your bigger picture. Shooting tie, clean up, unity for the righteous. Plotting on action, hands on access. With a light source vision, door to door knocking. Guerrilla style marketing, brainstorm as a collective. Real neighborhood suggestions. Only we know what it is where we living. To make real life decisions. Move on facts, make it manifest back.
You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah. Look at your city. Stop. Take a look around. Is opportunity flow into your house? Are you working? Wait, can you save some money? And is your neighborhood safe? Or is it a homicide every night? Vote